Welcome to the Profitability Podcast. I'm Joey.
And I'm Mackenzie.
Join us as we explore success in business and life, proving that while finance may not feel sexy, profitability is. Welcome to the Profitability Podcast. And today, we get Andy in the background. She's very excited to be here. Yay. More important than Andy, though, as much as I love Andy. I know. I knew that was coming. More important than Andy, we have Eden with us. And Eden is not only an incredible life coach, but one of my truly best friends, which, like many of the guests on this podcast, is actually new for us. We haven't known each other that long. I think I say that every time. Like, we're best friends, but we've only known each other for a couple of months. I guess I've known of you for a long time because you've been a huge support to our business, but I didn't know you well until recently. Anyways, you're a life coach, you're a mom, you're one of my very good friends. We tend to get together about once a month or so. I actually knew your brother before I knew you. The history goes on. But I will let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what a life coach actually does.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. And I feel like you could probably be best friends with a lot of people, Joey, because you're just so nice to everyone and encouraging. It's just like, I don't know, once you get to know her. No, I think it's great. Let's see what a life coach actually does in my life. I live here in Utah. I grew up here, went to school here. I've only been lived out of state a little bit, but I live here with my two boys. I have two little boys and my husband, and they are ages 2 and 4. And they're a lot of fun, and they are a lot of the reason that I coach the way that I do, because having little kids and being a business owner is just a unique situation. Not that nobody's doing it. A lot of people are doing that, and it just takes more, I feel like, more specific and focused effort and intention. It's different. And I got into life coaching. It was kind of a short journey. It feels really short. When I went to school, I ended up finding my way into studying psychology, which was not my intention when I originally started school, but that's where I ended up. And I learned about I call it just mental strength work. I took a class, and it was one class, wasn't even part of my psych program. And it wasn't like an elective, but they talked about mental strength and psychology and focusing more on the future and what's within your power right now, and reprogramming your mind and creating mental habits. That was a big thing, creating mental habits. And I really liked that focus of psychology and kind of the study of like training your brain, really. Instead of, because I wasn't really keen on doing therapy, but didn't know what else to do with a psych degree at the time. And so that was introduced to me. And eventually I found my way with that. I'd said for ages I wanted to be a mental strength coach and help people just do what they do best and do it really, really well and offer it to the world.
Can you say that one more time, what you just said? You want to help people do what?
I want to help people do what they do best. And now I'm questioning what I just said.
So much pressure. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You just said it so well. I was like, we need to highlight that. Help other people do what they do best.
Yes. And so they can offer what they have to the world. I basically did it because I saw a lot of people who had really awesome ideas, and you can see their potential, and they hold back for many different reasons. And to see that and think, like, you've got so much to offer, and to not just like for others, but seeing if they actually did it, it would help them thrive as well. I wanted to help people do that, overcome those mental blocks and see them thrive and help other people thrive. Because like people need each other. I mean, that's one of my philosophies. We need each other to really thrive in life and find what we want and who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So,
ultimate hype girl, because you remind us of our own potential when we're stuck in the weeds as business owners, of the chaos and the doubt and the fear and all the crazy emotions that come with being a business owner, because they do. And also you help us untangle the mess of that business ownership, and often for women, the life that coincides with that business ownership, like being a mom and running a household and being a good partner and a good friend and a good neighbor and all the things, right? You help us kind of lay that all out and untangle it so it doesn't feel so messy.
I think you said that really well. Yes.
I think you said it better, but I'm just re-emphasizing that that's how you help people do what they do well, is you take away the mental chaos.
Exactly. And because if all those aspects of their life that they care about, if it is their family and their business and their personal life and anything that's a part of it, if those aspects are being tended to, then the other areas will flourish. So they kind of all they come together, kind of in a holistic way, I guess. So yeah, after I graduated, I didn't know if I needed to do a master's program or like get a certification, kind of figure out what direction I'd go. And eventually I was just kind of tired of waiting to figure it out. And I just committed to doing a life coaching certification and to help just kind of send me in the direction I wanted. I asked myself if I'd like regret it a year from now, if I didn't do my certification, what would I be doing instead? And that was kind of a big decision for me to say like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to coach people and this is going to lean into my skills and I'm actually going to move forward with it. Yes, that was about a year ago. Then I started that program and I finished it and I certified with them, and I'm working on getting my certification with the International Coaching Federation right now and finishing that. And it's been a fun and interesting and difficult journey. If I'm being honest. It's coaching can do coaching that helps get somebody from point A to point B, and very much like a checklist, and these are your goals and these are your marks and get it done. But the kind of coaching that I like to do takes you very much from still from point A to point B, but it's going to be more like a roller coaster, because we go much deeper into what's behind the goals and what's behind the desires and where are you functioning from, and do you really actually want that goal, or is it just something to keep you busy? So I like to take people, I guess it's referred to a lot as transformational coaching, because it is very personal and it does focus a lot on changing. I guess it could be changing, but really expanding who you are as a person into the ways that you want to grow. Okay. Well, that's where my thought ended there as far as my journey in coaching. So sometimes it's a hard stop. Sometimes it keeps going.
I love that. No, that was great. And I have a lot of questions and thoughts. I'm chatty, as you know. But I think one of the things that I will say before I ask my next question is I feel like one of the best things that makes you really good at your job is that you are never at any point the coach that's like, I have it figured out. So if you just do it this way, then you'll also have it figured out. You're the most transparent and honest and even vulnerable person of admitting that you go through all the same struggles that every other business owner goes through, you just happen to have tools that make you really good at helping other people overcome those problems. So for example, like I might come to you and say, oh, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z at work. And you will literally just ask me questions about those things. And then pretty soon I'm like, wow, look at that. I feel so much better. And it's not like you were like, here's this magic silver bullet to fix all of the things. You just kind of helped talk me through it, which was great for me. But then immediately after that, you might come and say, I feel this, and this about what's going on in my life or in my business. And you just don't ever feel like the type of coach that's like up here with this unattainable thing. Like you really meet people where they are and help them kind of cross that bridge for themselves, which is great. That, I don't know, that was a horrible way to say that.
No, it wasn't.
I think that's what makes you great at what you do, is you really like meet people in this state of chaos and drag them out of it without this whole like song and dance of this is the only one right way of doing things, which is really refreshing.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's the goal. It's my belief that, you know more about what you need and what's important to you, even if maybe it's not conscious at the moment. And it's very important and special. And I don't feel like it's too far for me to like say it's very sacred for me to take on a role of letting people guiding them through what's going on in their thoughts. And it's really you that's doing the work, and it's you that knows the best thing for you. So if I came in and was like, do these things, like I have those ideas, but like it wouldn't serve you as well as uncovering what is most important to you. And it wouldn't land as well if I hadn't. This is probably one of the hardest things in coaching for me right now. I can have an aha moment for somebody and be like, oh, this is like a great idea. But to hold that back and allow them to come to whatever realization they need, like you value it so much more when it's your own. Like if you have an aha moment versus someone just being like, here, not that I don't offer it again, like I'll come in and be like, how does this land for you? But you're the one like doing the magic. And that's why I like coaching. It really just highlights you and the people that I work with and the clients. And my goal is to help you feel amazing. Not feel amazing, but feel like you are amazing. Like I'm a genius by the end of a session. Meaning not I'm a genius, Eden's a genius, but you are a genius.
Yes. And you do. Even not in sessions with you, just anytime I talk to you, I walk away going like, I have motivation, I have inspiration, I have like, almost this clear action plan, and all the chaos that's been bogging me down as a business owner just feels a lot less. It just feels like, okay, I know what to do. And as a business owner, as all three of us know, that is insanely valuable when we can get out of our own ways. Because we do a good job at what we do for the most part. I mean, speaking for business owners, I think there's a reason we got into business, and it's because we have a talent at something. But I talk to so many business owners that like we can't get out of our own way because it's just crazy to be a business owner. So to have someone help us get out of our own way is magical. So thanks for doing what you do.
You're welcome.
Do you find that if like you give suggestions to clients, or you like have this aha moment and you tell them and they're like, yeah, I want to do that, or like if they come to it themselves, do you find that they will do better or follow that aha moment if they came to the conclusion themselves over like if you told them what to do?
I say it's much more likely the second one.
Yeah.
If they came up with it, then I will ask questions about what they came up with. Even if I was like over on Mars with my ideas, they'll come up with a different direction, but then they're more likely to actually take action on their idea versus like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, how many of you times have you been like scrolling Instagram, or you hear a speaker and you're like, wow, like that was inspirational. And you go home and you're like, okay, I'll think about that another time. Like, I need to like journal about it at some point. But then like you don't. But if you're like, okay, no, I have this idea, I'm gonna like follow through with it, you're just more likely to take action on it because it's yours. It's really yours. So I can hold someone accountable to it and say, okay, like, what are you going to do about that cool idea or that realization, or what does it mean to you? Sometimes I'll take action on my ideas because I don't know, I listen and I try to feel, I'm pretty intuitive with people, but it's really, again, it's even guiding, what does my idea bring up for you? Or, yeah, I say you nailed it on that. They definitely.
I just feel like sometimes, like, if I'm feeling like I'm being told what to do, or like that is how it comes across, that I'm more likely to be like resistant of it and like not want to take action. Whereas like if it comes to my own brain and I kind of have the idea, and then you help me like work through that and like kind of like maybe change it a little bit, or like make me think about things that I didn't think about when I came up with it, I feel like I'm way more likely to like push the gas on that idea.
Yeah. Have you had an experience like that recently?
Not recently, I don't think. I just feel like kind of my personality, like in general, I don't really like to be told what to do. I don't like
oldest daughter syndrome that we all have. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I definitely, it's not that like if somebody tells me to like complete a task or something, it's not like I'm going to be like, no, that's a terrible idea. Like, it's more of like in my own life, if like people are giving me like unsolicited advice of like, oh, you should be doing this because X, Y, and Z. I'm like, go away. You don't even know my life. Like, you don't even know what I deal with day to day. Like, you have no idea. Like, who are you to tell me what I should be eating or not? You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is. And so I think that is just like more my personality, where it's like, if I kind of like make the decision like, oh, I want to eat healthier, or I want to do this because I know that it will make me a better mom and wife for my family, I'm way more likely to like make an action plan and go through with it because I came up with it, because I know what my life looks like. Whereas like if somebody else on Instagram is like telling me to do it, I'm kind of like, okay. Like, you don't have the same life as me, so you don't get it, you know? So I think like, I love your approach of like, I get to know people, I get to know what's going on in their lives. I ask them questions, where that way you are like very integrated with what they're doing, and then can make suggestions based on how their lifestyle is, because everyone's different.
Exactly. Everyone is just so different. And that's what coaching is so personal. And I know that can be intimidating for people sometimes, to know that they might need to address something that's very personal instead of getting pretty streamlined direction, which isn't always a bad thing. But that's why you have more like consultants and mentors if you do want specific direction. That's what kind of those roles are for. But a coach will, at least a good coach will take your personal life, like, and take it really into account with everything. I think that's why it can be extremely valuable for people, because like you don't get that unless you are working with somebody, either like one-on-one, or I feel like smaller group programs you can have more of that as well. But yeah, I think no, that's the end of a sentence too, I think. Period.
I had a thought now. Oh, I was gonna say, sometimes it's nice to have like a little bit of an outside perspective too, of like, not only are you getting to know me, but like as you build that relationship, like the trust is there. So then when you make suggestions, or you say like, hey, I've seen this work before, like maybe we could try something like this. Like, I think that is so just valuable, because sometimes you are like in your own bubble and you can't see past your own bubble, right? Like you can't see that you do need to address this, or that like this is something that you could change that would easily help with this thing over here, or whatever. So I think that that's sometimes you do need that third party or that outside perspective to kind of help you kind of push past whatever it is you need to.
No, you're so right. And that's why I think people need people, really. I was talking to my sister the other day, my older sister, and we were just talking about processing like emotions and what that takes. And sometimes like you just need to call someone and process, or yeah, I don't know why that keeps coming to my mind, and that people need people so much. I think it's important for them to be in each other's lives. And to your point, as I forget exactly what I was saying, why am my mind is on a train. I think so. Some people compare, like you said, you're kind of in your bubble, or like they'll be like, it's kind of like you're in a jar and you can't really read the label for if you're inside the jar, but like somebody outside the jar can like see what's going on. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I often have times where I can kind of see what's going on in my mind and my life, but having somebody to just like stand there and stand still and be grounded for me to just kind of, like you said, kind of untangle the mess, Joey. It's important because there is so much going on in your mind, and you can learn tools and processes to definitely help you untangle it, like, and coach yourself. But yeah, I think having a third party really do that. This is a side note. I'm going to give you a little side quest here. and to your point too, when I was in school, I always saw people so stressed around final exams, which normal. And I would get kind of stressed, and I'm like, I feel like, the appointments at like the counseling center would go up at that time, but nobody could actually get in because there were so many people who needed an appointment. And I was like, I think people just need to vent. I think they just need to get something like off their chest, get it out, and they'll be able to focus. And so just little old me decided for, I think it was December finals, to make a poster. I like wrote a sign on a poster, and I sat it in the middle of the quad, and I was like, hey, if you need to vent to a totally unrelated third party, come and talk to me. And nobody actually like took me up on it. They mostly were like, that's a cool idea. Like, I'll come sit with you. But I was like, it's important. And sometimes you need help getting it out, and you don't want to talk to a family member sometimes. Yeah, I think that's why some people relate it a bit to therapy. It's not therapy, but like you process in a different way.
You can walk away feeling similarly. Like,
yeah,
you can breathe again a little bit. Maybe tell us a little bit like what the differences are, because I think that's the common misconception, that life coaching is light therapy, and it's not.
Right. So the main difference, and there can be some coaching like that is included with therapy. Many therapists will do some coaching, and many will refer out to a coach if they feel like their client is more in need of coaching. Therapy, now my brain is thinking of all the therapists coming at me for this, but is more focused on looking at healing a lot of past traumas, whether like big T trauma or little T trauma, and focus on bringing everyday functioning, like if you're not functioning, and being able to live life, helping bring that up to a place of like, okay, I can do life. I have some skills to function, to have some amount of like social functioning and financial functioning, or like working, and is very much needed. Often you could feel like, you are functioning, but things still aren't going great. Therapy is a great place to start and to continue. I should say just start, to continue. I kind of have to figure out what is right there. And coaching focuses more specifically on the future and who we need to be now in order to move forward and pursue what we want. you may hear people say like be and then do and then have, instead of, so like you'll, at least that's what I like to think about. You focus on who you are and understanding like what your values are, how you're showing up in the world, and maybe the different roles that you claim, but just really who you are as a person and how that impacts what you do. And then that will then impact what you have, instead of, well, when I reach this point, like, and I have this thing, I have a successful business. When I have a successful business, then I can, you know, take time for my family and take time for myself and a vacation. But instead, you just kind of flip it, and the have comes last and the being comes first. And that way life isn't being angry at your business for taking time away from your family, or being angry at your family for needing you to come away from your business. Because you're the continuing factor in your life. You're the one that's going to be in all of it. And so who you're being is the beginning of finding that peace and finding that flow and what you want in life.
I think you said it beautifully, of like, therapy is, let's dig into the past and figure out what back there is affecting you now. But coaching is more, let's talk about the future and how are we going to get from here to there. Mm-hmm. Which made me think, we've been talking a lot in our own business about traction and the EOS system, which defines different roles. And there's visionaries and there's integrators. And we've talked about this. And then I also happened to have a client call today where we talked about two co-founders. One's a visionary, one's an integrator, and how sometimes that is hard because we don't think the same. Sometimes, like, having a visionary and having an integrator is so crucial because there's so much balance that comes. Visionaries have lots of strengths, and this is Bible according to Joey. No, I'm not. This is not traction science-based. This is me. In my opinion, in my experience, we have so many strengths, but so many weaknesses. Like, we have such a hard time actually executing on the visions because we're over here living in the clouds. And so we need an integrator who's actually like, okay, come back down to earth. How are you actually going to accomplish and move anything along if you don't, like, you know, whatever. Sometimes that feels like it's sad as a visionary, of like, oh, I have all these things. And then they're like, okay, no, you can't have all of them. And you're like, rude, you know? And then on the flip side, the integrator's like, I'm over here doing all the hard work. Like, where are you? You know, anyways, this just happened to me recently. And in a client call, they were talking about how it was a little bit like this. Mm-hmm. All this to say, you make a very excellent bridge to those two things, because I feel like you do such a good job of like taking the visionary, in this case, that's me. So this is my experience with you, but taking the visionary and saying, love all the goals. And we're not saying no to all the things and all the visions and all the dreams in the sky, but I'm also helping you in a forward thinking way, think about how to do that and what those goals actually look like and what they actually mean. And you get serious about them without feeling like drag you back down to earth in this sad, deflating way. Mm-hmm. And for a visionary, that seems like semantics, but is such a huge deal. Like, for whatever reason, when people rain on our little parades, we literally hire them to rain on our parades. And then when they do, we're like mad about it. We know it's necessary, but it's a little bit crazy. So to have, you know, another person or, you know, system in place that allows that merge of visionary plus actual reality is really awesome. You make a fantastic visionary coach, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I can definitely see that. Raining on the parade of all the ideas is frustrating. It's frustrating. I also struggle with that sometimes, a lot of times. Lots of ideas. I don't feel the capacity to implement them, even though I see them and know they'd be impactful. And picking what would, see, I'd ask a lot of questions of just to what end are a lot of the ideas, what are they coming up for what purpose, and you'd eventually come to figure out which things are going to actually help. Well, all things could help, but really move you toward what you really want. Whether it's having a steady business for a year and implementing some things with your family, or growing the business, or I know I'm focusing on business at the moment. But what is it you really want, and how are all of those ideas going to help that happen?
As women, life demands a lot from us, but there is no reason for you to put your business goals on hold. At the Profitability Project, we understand that your business can't be your whole life. Balancing personal life and work is always hard, and we want to help you make the most of every day. We are here to craft financial strategies to help you achieve the lifestyle you want. With options ranging from online courses to done-for-you services, you'll discover new ways to maximize profitability, streamline your operations, and take the guesswork out of taxes. We have what you need to take your business to the next level. Interested? Learn more about the Profitability Project at theprofitabilityproject.com. That's theprofitabilityproject.com. Get ready to grow your business without sacrificing your entire life.
Which is, again, super cool, because I think kind of a light bulb moment I had today was, well, first of all, nothing will drive you insane faster than being a visionary that can't figure out which ideas to execute on. That will make you institutionalized. Like, it is so much in your brain. And then you're like, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Again, talking to this client who feels the same way, we were just kind of like going back and forth of how we both feel this way sometimes, of like, it makes you feel insane. It makes you feel like a crazy person. And you just are so confused. And today I was thinking about some of these things for me, and had kind of a light bulb moment of like you said, for what purpose? All of a sudden I kind of came back down to like why I do what I do, why I would want to execute on something else, why do I want growth in my business, or any major life decision. I relate it back to business because that's my reality, but in any situation, like, why is this important to me? And like, when you really dig through all of the layers at the bottom of it, it's like, for me, I was like, I want to do this because at the end of it all, and top of the list, I want financial security. And then underneath that, I want flexibility to do what I love. And then underneath that, I want to support other women. And maybe underneath that, there's like kind of this list that came to my head. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of felt like the chaos was a little bit less, because I'm like, now I know which things to pursue, when to pursue them. And maybe I need my integrator to help me actually do an action plan and like get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe, I do, period, hard stop. I need that. But knowing why I'm doing it, all of a sudden it doesn't feel so chaotic and heavy and crazy. Mm-hmm. And so having someone, like, if you would have asked me that question 6 weeks ago, I probably would have saved myself a lot of insanity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I was talking to you 6 weeks ago. I should have asked.
You're literally like, I have tried. I'm so glad you came to that conclusion on your own when I suggested it 6 weeks ago. I wish we talked more about how truly insane being a business owner makes you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the gig. I think we just have this need to, like, especially when we're consultants or coaches or women, have this need to, like, pretend we have it all together and we're just doing all the things. In reality, parenthood and business ownership are like the two biggest mirrors that you can hold up to your face to view any and all tiny and huge insecurities and faults and, things. And so, like, when I hear other people talking about that and not knowing what to do with that, myself included, and when I have those moments, like, this to me is kind of the solution to that problem of how to just not stop the chaos, because the chaos will always be there as part of being a business owner, but not have it feel like it's ruining your entire life. Like, you can turn it off, which is kind of unheard of for most business owners, and especially visionaries. We don't know how to turn it off, even when we want to. So anyways, I think you're a really great fit. And again, I say business ownership, but my next question is, tell us more about the type of people that you work with and the problems you help them solve. I filter that through my lens of business ownership because that's what you've helped me with, but I know there's more to it than that.
Yeah. Well, you led into that really well with what you shared about business owners and how many female and mother business owners, I have to feel a little bit insane and crazy. I do work a lot with, and I choose to work a lot with mom and female business owners. One, because I relate. Two, because again, I feel like they're one of the groups of people who have incredible ideas and are not going to be as willing to go for them. And that's not statistics or anything. It's just more my observation. I always forget the word for that, but and I help them find the word that came up with me today is to help make their life feel deeply nourishing, not necessarily in a, like, I'm going to go and eat my protein in my salad kind of a way, though if that is part of it, then yes. But instead of feeling like every part of life is pulling at them and pulling them apart, it's feeding them and giving them what they need to thrive. And I feel like that word's kind of a cliche word too, but I like that, to feel confidence in their choices that they're making with their family, with their business. And what I like to focus on too, and it sounds probably in the business world sounds a little bit odd, but with moms and female business owners and what you said about business and parenting being the ultimate mirrors of showing all our insecurities, I focus on cultivating an aspect of very deep self-love with business owners, so that I find it helps them be the person that they want to be and show up for their family and their business and themselves the way that they want, and helps build their grit in business and family life, to keep going. And for visionaries, it helps let go of some of the ideas that they have and fully embrace the ones that they're going to go after, because there can be a lot of shame that comes up in being a business owner. You're in your head so much, and it's your ideas that are leading the way. And we make a lot of mistakes, and we have mistakes, we have wins, we have who knows what I'm even going to do, but I'm going to try it anyway moments. And in order to not get lost in all of that, being able to, at the end of the day, say, like, I know I had that call today and the client didn't sign, and even though I feel kind of like a failure in that, I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. And that phrase, it comes from, or at least I learned it from doing emotional freedom technique or tapping. But even if it's not something that I feel like necessarily needs tapping to make a big impact. It's anytime that I feel, here's my advice coming through. See, I'm not asking questions, but you'll hear me talk about this a lot, whether it's online or anywhere else, because it's just made such a big difference in my life. And I think helps moms and female business owners. When you see the failure staring at you in the face, or what you feel like is one, it kicks shame to the curb when you say, like, I feel like crap. I feel like I just want to melt into the wall and nobody takes me seriously as a business owner, or I feel so guilty for letting my kids watch 3 hours of TV while I work on my business because their babysitter or their nanny or just things didn't work out today. Those are things that I've heard come up and that I felt and saying, okay, I still choose to love myself. I'm not going to wallow in all of the reasons why I'm stuck at doing this job, whether it's being a caretaker or business owner or both. But I'm going to love myself. And because I'm going to love myself, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try something different. It just it shifts your brain. Shame will keep us spiraling. And being able to put a cover over that shame spiral helps us just keep moving forward. And then you do a lot of it's interesting to see what decisions you make when you make them out of love for who you are and not fear of what can happen.
I'm sitting here asking myself, what decisions would I make, or what would I have done differently if I wasn't so busy wallowing in shame or being distracted by or listening to all the shame. Because we talk about on the podcast with every episode, and we will do this at the end of this one, but we ask people about their failures, what they got out of it, so that we can kind of selfishly, so that we can normalize failure is a part of every success story, but also that it does end up coming usually with something good on the other side, and it all works out, right? But when we listen to those stories and when we told our own stories of failure, I've never thought okay, let's rewrite this situation. Let's say the failure still happens, but instead of letting myself spiral over it or making it affect my whole life, I'm going to just practice a little bit more self-love, and so that I can move on and kind of cover this up. That's kind of an interesting thought. What would have been different? Not that I want to inspire a whole bunch of regrets, but it does kind of
shame yourself for feeling shame.
yeah, exactly. But it kind of motivates me a little bit more that next time I'll see it more as, okay, now I'm just going to choose to let go of this a little bit more. I'm not going to white knuckle it so hard, I guess.
Yeah. The white knuckling. It helps you feel the feeling, and say you feel it and allow the feeling to be okay. Yeah, I feel this. I'm not going to just not feel it, but then you get to move through it. And the shame doesn't have to be a result of feeling the feeling, and then you can move forward. And, yeah, I haven't figured out how to say I help business owners with self-love, because most of them generally don't know that that's part of what's at the bottom. It's no, I love myself. I love who I am. And it's not like I'm going around being oh, I'm the worst person all the time. But the moments when you might sit in shame or figuring out how to make a decision it makes it better. It makes it a lot better. Yeah. It's changed my life. So
I feel like you help business owners stop the spiral and make better decisions.
Yeah. There's that.
And that's what we all want, is to get out of our own way, stop the spiral, just quiet our heads long enough to be able to focus on what we really want and then execute on those things.
Yeah.
And that is something that we're not good at. I say we, I'm talking about me. I'm not good at. I shouldn't speak for the entire community of business owners, but I'm certainly not good at. And I think that a lot of the people that I talk to struggle with getting out of the spiral long enough to just make a clear, educated decision. It's just, like I said, just we need someone who can read the label clearly.
Yeah.
And knows how to get us out of our own way.
You really know how to do it. I just hope you see it.
Maybe. I will trust you on that. But then I also think, I mean, additionally, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but I think another thing that you're really good at is helping people when you really, get clear on the purpose of why you do what you do. You're really good at helping kind of realign our lives, which allows us in turn to find so much more joy. Like, you're really good at just helping, I mean, because of who you are as a person and being your friend, but as a coach and because this is what you do professionally, I think it's such a great foundation to then be like, I can and almost or likely already do have it all. Like, I think that's such a weird concept for women of we can have it all, whatever that means to whoever, But I think I found that, like, when you really can get out of the spiral, get out of your own way, and really be so clear on what you want from life, whether it's your business or your family or your neighbors or friends or whatever, like all of it combined. That's when, for me, it's clicked. And I felt like, wait a minute, I do already have it all. I have the kids, I have the business, I have, whatever. And none of it is perfect, not even remotely close to perfect, and probably not even how I imagined it. And yet I still feel so much joy and happiness with where I'm at now. And that's pretty powerful stuff. That is a drug, to feel joy with your current situation. Obviously barring true mental health things that need other solutions, which are a different category. But being able to kind of take where you are, no matter where you are, and feel joy in that situation is pretty powerful. And so the fact that you can help people do that is really powerful.
So Joey, can I ask you a question?
Oh, yes.
So how does it, when you feel that and you feel like you feel that joy and like you do have it all, you're like, oh man, how does that impact the way that you show up for your business and your family?
Great question. It doesn't, the best way that I could probably describe it is the shift of like the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset, which feels cliche, but when you make that shift, or when I've made that shift into I have it all, I have so much joy, I love everything that's going on, like come what may, it really actually doesn't affect me so much when the come what may actually shows up at my doorstep. I still feel like there's a light at the end of this tunnel. This is just, a small hiccup. We know how to get through this, all the things, right? My kids aren't necessarily doomed for jail. Like, I just have a little bit more optimism about the whole situation and a little more perspective on the fact that it's just part of the gig. It's just part of business or part of motherhood or part of whatever aspect of my life it is. And the opposite of when I just feel like, oh my gosh, it's chaos. It's not enough. I need to do more in business, motherhood, any of these aspects. Then it bleeds into all of it. And like my team will tell you, they probably actually won't tell you because they're nice people, but if they were fully honest, they would tell you that they can feel that when if a client comes back with just like this much feedback for us that is perceived to be negative, I'm like, burn the ships. Life is over. Why are we even here? Like it just becomes this whole catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
And it weighs on me for much longer than it really should or needs to. And then my kids feel it, and my husband feels it. And then the creativity doesn't spark. So then I feel, like I'm not fulfilled in my business anymore. Like it just has this huge trickle effect for sure. You're so welcome. Yeah, it's tough. I think, and you'll know this about me because I feel like I've had more of those moments this year than all the other previous years of this business combined, where I've been like, wow, we're like, look at us, look at what we're doing. This is so fun. And all of these things, these really great moments. And I think that there are also times in those moments that I think, okay, now that I have these moments, it'll always feel like this. I will always feel joy in my life, regardless of where I'm at. And that is not true. It still comes and goes. I still have to work at it. I still have to remind myself of the tools or the things, or maybe go visit with you. There's like a million things, but there are still moments where it comes crashing down and it feels chaotic and it feels hard and it doesn't feel fulfilling. And I don't know which decision to make, and the spiral is nonstop. Even though I know that I can get out of that and that I will get out of that, it doesn't mean that I'll stay there forever. So I think that that's important to note too, that it takes work still.
Yeah, it does on both ends. It will take work and it will show up. And I think you're right. It takes work to see and feel the joy. I think it can, to remove all those blocks and change your mind. And it takes work to see and kind of come out of a spiral. I think giving yourself the grace to be okay with being in a spiral is, like I said, I don't have all the answers, but like, I think having tools and perspective so that when you do experience those things, because you know that they will come, yeah, it makes them, I feel like it's almost like you allow yourself to be in them and be okay with them and that they're happening, and to like feel the feelings that come with them, instead of, which makes it move faster, instead of trying to not feel them and not address and see that like, this is awful, or this is, I'm in a funk, or why is it happening? Yeah, it helps you move through it faster so you can be kind of where you want to be, or moving, like having movement, because feeling stagnant is everybody's just version of hell. So the worst. And yeah, so movement is going to be what it keeps you going. Well, that's like the definition of movement anyway. Sorry. Movement keeps you going. No kidding.
No, that's true though. That's an interesting thought, that being stagnant is everyone's version of hell, because I don't think I've stopped to think about it like that. That all I really need is to feel like I'm moving forward, and then I won't feel so chaotic. But in order to move forward, I have to kind of slow down and allow
Mhm.
for this to happen, which
Yes.
therapy, life coaching, business coaching has always been my roadblock. I refuse to allow myself to slow down and or feel feelings. I just want to be like, just go away. And so then it gets tucked in this awesome little box
Mhm.
until the awesome little box isn't so awesome anymore. And then it all comes flooding out. And then that's actually Mackenzie's true definition of hell. So that is not helping anybody.
Well, the funny thing is, I find it interesting that feeling the feelings is actually the faster way of moving through if you don't want to slow down. And slow down, I mean, that kind of depends on what, who you are and what you need to do. But yeah, taking some time to feel the feelings. I've been learning, and I need to look into this more, to be honest. But I've been taught that it takes like 9 seconds to fully feel a feeling, like let it come in through your body and like let it go. I want to look more. I want to look more into it and understand what it means, to like fully accept that and then let it let your body process it and move. So I feel like there's a lot behind that.
If you told me it took 90 minutes, I'd be like, I can do that. I think I'm operating on maybe like a 90-day timeline right now, like
Mm-hmm.
I think just the avoidance of all of it, of like, can't admit to failure, can't admit to sadness, can't admit to disappointment, like any of these things does turn it into this whole 90-day, and I'm saying 90, but it's this whole thing. It feels like this whole season of life. And for you to say that it could be 9 seconds, if I would just let it happen, and like acknowledge that it's okay to feel this way, is pretty eye-opening.
I think it comes back to that statement I made before, like letting yourself feel it, like even though I feel stagnant or like a failure, and you can feel that, and then you choose to love yourself, and that takes you out of what it means about you. It makes it okay for you to be a failure, for you to be a bad mom for a minute, for you to be whatever, or how you see it. And then you don't have to spend 90 days feeling like, wow, I suck.
Yeah. And my kids don't have to experience the side effects. And
yeah,
that's pretty powerful stuff. I'm just thinking of all of the stuff that I've been putting on the shelf and labeling after tax season. Deal with this after tax season. Like, maybe if I just brought it all out and just, dealt with it, then I could actually enjoy post-tax season instead of then dealing with all of the stuff. But also, I know I'm going backwards a little bit, but I really loved what you said about how does that change how you make decisions, which is such a huge part of my role as a business owner, is making the right decisions. And so if I stop putting that off, deal with it, see it for what it is, choose to move on from it anyways, and not move on from it, but accept it for what it is, accept myself for what I am, and, kind of go through that. What does post-tax season look like? What decisions am I making that if I just leave it on the shelf are not going to work, because now I have a whole pile of backlogged feelings or labels or, whatever to deal with. And that makes me want to just go get it out and, take care of it. I don't know. That makes me excited about it, I should say, is a better word, like motivated.
Hopefully it's an actionable thing you can do to process. I don't know. I feel like people used to say, like, you just need to feel your feelings. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, how do I do that without dying?
And also, it feels so cliche because I'm like, I cry all the time. What do you mean? Like, I'm an emotional person. I feel angry at my kids all the time, probably too much. Like, I'm an emotional person. I feel my feelings. But when I sit and talk or think about, like, am I acknowledging I feel a lot of anxiety, or I feel a lot of pressure, or I feel a lot of insecurity, instability, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. That's just where I am right now. Like, I never do that, ever. And just the idea of saying that out loud is like, I feel like I can breathe a little bit more. It's turned into my very own therapy session or coaching session.
There you go. What are you going to do after our call here, Joey? Having this realization, what are you going to do?
I'm going to think about all of the things that are causing my current spiral and recognize that they actually don't mean anything about me as a person. They're just situational. And then move on.
When are you going to take the time to do that?
Eden.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what a session would look like if you worked with Eden.
So I'd make you answer.
So I'm going to schedule a total of 27 seconds to get through 3 feelings. And I'm going to do that as soon as we hang up.
Okay.
I've totally got 27 seconds.
Yeah, you do.
Eden, you're amazing. And I am so lucky to know you. And I'm glad that you were here today. And hopefully, I'm going to publish this for people to listen to. But if no one listens, I think I feel great about what I got out of today. But in case people do listen, and I do think that so many business owners, especially women, especially business owners, but in reality, people in general need this, because moving forward can be really tricky. Thinking about moving forward can be really tricky, especially when we're stuck in our own heads. So tell us how you work with people, and if they want to work with you, how can they find you?
Okay. Currently, I work with people just one-on-one. I usually work with people for about 3 months. I feel like that's kind of an ideal time for the kind of work that we do. And they can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Eden. You can just send me a message there. My website is currently in process. It's up, but it's just not very pretty. So I send people to Instagram to contact me. Just reach out, and we can, I love to talk to people, like, before being like, no, you have to commit to this. Like, no, I want to talk to them and help understand, like, what they are experiencing, what they want, if this is really like the direction that they want to go. I'm not just going to hop on a call and be like, yeah, do coaching with me because I want to coach you because I just like working with people, but I'll make sure it's good for them. A good fit for both of us. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Instagram, Coaching with Eden. You work with people one-on-one typically for about 3 months. And then do you do like virtual sessions? Like, do you work with anybody anywhere?
Yes, I do virtual sessions, and we incorporate a lot of mindset work or emotional freedom technique. I do a little bit of hypnotherapy if I feel like it's needed, and or if they're interested in that, and kind of whatever just they are looking for and in need of around kind of what we've talked about today. Yeah. I stop ending with yeah. There's my self-conscious, like, talking coming through. Yeah, my yasms and all those things.
Yeah. If you could actually just sit with that for 1 minute and accept that.
I accept that I have all of the, what do they call them? Filler words?
Filler words. That's the name of the game. So it's all good. Thank you for being here, Eden.
Thank you.
You're amazing. So I'm glad you were here, and we will put all of your contact information in the show notes. And if you are on the fence about whether or not this is something that you think would help you, I would definitely encourage you to just have a conversation with Eden. Just get to know her, because she will improve your life. Whether you work together or just become friends, she is incredible. 10 out of 10. So, all right.
I am incredible. You should message me on Instagram. I'm fun to talk to.
Wait till she whips out her t-shirt blanket, and then you get...
Oh, gosh.
She's also just
you asked for that.
follow on Instagram in general. So I love stuff on Instagram. So
thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to the Profitability Podcast. For more business and finance content, follow us on Instagram at The Profitability Project LLC, or visit our website at theprofitabilityproject.com.